years of experience working at CNN, IBN, CNBC TV 18, and CNN News 18. Currently the editor-in-chief, East Mojo, and co-founder, Advi Infotainment. He is a two-time winner of the Ramnath Goenka Award for Excellence in Journalism. He is none other than Mr. Karma Paljor. May I now invite on stage our speakers for this discussion, Ms. Carol Andrea Kevichusa. She is an Indian model and actress from Nagaland. She made her acting debut with Anek in 2022. She has been featured in editorials of magazines such as Vogue India, Harper's Bazaar, Elle, Femina, and on the covers of Filmfare and Grazia India. I would now like to invite Ms. Pooja Ilangbam. She is the current Sub-Divisional Officer, SDM, Porompat. She is an alumni of Welham Girls, St. Stephen College, and JNU University. Pooja is the third woman IAS officer from Manipur. She's also the founder of Book Club Imphal, an initiative to promote reading culture and general awareness amongst the youth. Next, may I invite Mr. Nauba Thangjam. He is the director of Classic Group of Hotels. He is the director of Babina Healthcare and Hospitality Industries Private Limited and secretary of Classic Football Academy, Classic Grande. Please welcome Mr. Nauba Thangjam. Finally, may I please invite Mr. Jeremy Lalrinunga. He is an Indian weightlifter from Aizawl, Mizoram. He represented India in the 2018 Summer Youth Olympics in Buenos Aires. He won the gold medal in the boys 62 kg weightlifting category, and it was India's first gold medal in the Youth Olympic Games. He's also won a gold in the 2022 Commonwealth Games in the 67 kg category. Please welcome Mr. Jeremy Lalrinunga.
Okay, so thank you everyone for the wonderful welcome to all of us here. I'm very happy to be actually now hosting a panel discussions with actual young leaders. Yeah, till now it was a mix. What best describes all the people, and I'm proud to be with them and proud to moderate this session, there are a few words that kind of are like a thread that runs through four of them. They are dreamers, they are passionate about what they do, what they wanted to do, they are resilient, and they are all leaders at a very young age. So now that you are all interested, I want to see the voice of Imphal. Yeah? I'm going to seek your help. So my first question will go to whoever's name you scream out the loudest. Yeah, I'll count 3. So you shout a name, and the first question is going. So this is audience participation. I want you to participate. I'll count till 3, and then you shout out a name, and the first question will go to that person. Ready? Yes, sir. Ready. There is no energy left. I know why. Are we ready? Okay. 1, you're out of turn. Yeah, wait. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I couldn't hear at all. It's like just a mix. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I can't hear. So I'll ask the first question to Jeremy. I think he's the youngest, huh? So, yeah, Jeremy. So, Jeremy, I'm going back to your Commonwealth Games. आपका जो Commonwealth Games में हुआ था, वहाँ मैं जा रहा हूँ. We will imagine what happened at the Commonwealth Games. तो clean and jerk में आप 154 किलो उठा के पूरा क्रैम्प होके आप गिर गया था. हम सब लोग जो देख रहा था हमको बहुत चिंता हुई है. उसके बाद आप फिर आके 160 उठाया. ठीक है, गोल्ड मेडल अशोर्ड हो गया. आप फिर गिर गया वहां,
जी
हमको और चिंता हुआ। तो आपने फिर उसके बाद 165 का अटेम्प्ट क्यों किया? ये तो आपको नहीं करना चाहिए था, थोड़ा रेस्ट लेना चाहिए था, आपने क्यों किया ये?
नहीं, उस टाइम पे मेरा ओपोनेंट था समोआ से, वो ओलंपियन है, काफ़ी सीनियर है मेरे से, वो मेरे पीछे पीछे आ रहा था, वो एक केजी से। तो 160 उठाने के बाद भी फिर मतलब बिल्कुल कंफर्म नहीं था कि गोल्ड है, तो इसीलिए मुझे उठाना पड़ा वो 165, लेकिन अनफॉर्चुनेटली उठा नहीं पाया, वो हाथ टूट गया था।
आपके जैसा ही दूसरा पागल है मेरे बगल में बैठा है, नौबा। हाँ, so I'm going to, Nauba also has an interesting story. So Nauba's story is also like weightlifting. So he did a crazy thing in Imphal, Sangai festival, I think way back, year, what year was it?
2013.
2013. So he went for his clean and jerk. The chief minister then challenged him. He says, we've got a wonderful hotel. You go in and you convert that hotel into a 3-star facility in a month. So he went to check. Only 2 rooms were ready. He had a month to make 30 rooms ready. Yeah?
Yeah, that's
So
correct.
you are also pulling over your weight. You could have been injured. What made you do it?
First, I would say no comparison to Jeremy, what he did, and mine was totally different. He did it independently. I had a team of, great young leaders among my team, who you can see are currently actually working around here. So with their effort and their hard work, we were eventually able to actually turn over that hotel, which is currently Hotel Imphal, run by the Classic Group. That was back in 2013. We had multiple delegates from Myanmar flying down, and Sri Okram Ibobi Singh, at that time he was the Chief Minister of Manipur. So he had already invited the delegates, and there were lack of rooms, and the rooms were very in poor condition in Hotel Imphal. So that 30 days, we had 150 laborers, painters, tile workers working for 30 days. We almost worked for almost 12 to 14 hours a day. I was there at midnight with the painters, checking the work. So that was a challenge, and we accepted, and it was completed in 30 days, and all the rooms were ready then.
Yeah? So this is what these guys are made up of, yeah? They can really pull a lot. I'm going to jump the administrator. Yeah, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to go to Andrea. Andrea, 16. 16 is when you signed up with a agency, the Anima Creative Management. 16. What were you thinking? Why did your parents allow you to go so far away from home?
I think I just saw it as an opportunity really to take skills up like a sponge, to just, because I'd never stepped out of Nagaland before that. I don't think I'd ever even sat on a plane before I took that trip. So I was completely alone when I first came to Bombay. I didn't know anyone in the city. I had to figure a lot of things out on my own. But I think I'm grateful for all the things that I went through, because that made me who I am today. Trying to figure out how Uber works, trying to figure out how to get stuff delivered to your home, all these small things. But at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, I think I wanted to be something else in life, but I think life had a different calling for me, and I grabbed that opportunity, and here I am today.
And you she also survived the Kapil Sharma show. We'll talk about that later. Very few people survived the Kapil Sharma show. It was wonderful. She did it. So now I come to our able administrator, and the first question I asked her when I first met her was, so you are a SDO, and do people take you seriously? Yeah? So she sternly looked at me. Of course they do. And when she looked at me that way, I said, okay, I believe you. There must be something. You passed IAS in your first attempt, right? But you have had the privilege of going through great schools, and you're the third IAS officer who's passed on, and you gave it in first. How did you manage that? And what is your message to the other kids out there who want to pull this kind of a weight and win?
Thank you so much, Karma, for this question. Firstly, I mean, I'm really grateful for my parents, that they have always prioritized education for me. And they made sure that, when I was growing up, Manipur was going through a turbulent time. And I remember there were times when we didn't have school for 6-7 months because of agitations, bunds. So they really wanted me to have a stable environment for me to study, and they wanted me to go to school regularly. So that's why they sent me to boarding school at a pretty young age. I went to Dehradun, to Welham Girls' School. After that, I went to Stephens. So gradually, I spent a lot of my time outside Manipur since I was a child. But I always felt connected to Manipur. I used to come home for holidays. I grew up hearing stories from my grandparents about Manipur. My grandfather is one of the first MPs from Manipur, Laishram Achau Singh. And he was one of the biggest, he was the one who actually denounced ASPA when it was first legislated in Parliament at that time. So I've had a history, a family legacy of service. My father is an IPS retired IPS officer. My grandfather is an ex-MP. So we have had this legacy of learning, legacy of giving back to society, and I think it just passed on to me as well. And I have worked hard. I know that I've had certain privileges other people haven't had. I know I've had really supportive family who let me study, let me pursue different subjects. So I did well in my studies and in Manipur, and I think
I'm sure you did well in your studies.
But so what happens is when you do well in your studies, you're pressurized to take up sciences. But I was more interested in political science and in history. So I had to fight a little bit regarding that. But then my parents were like, okay, if you don't get a job, because they were worried that if I pursue the arts, there's no fixed job waiting for me. So they preferred if I took up the sciences and probably did medical or engineering, something more safe. But I said that, whatever I take out, I'll figure something on my own, and I really want to come back to Manipur and work. So I think the trajectory of my life so far has been that even though I spent almost 12 to 13 years of my life studying outside Manipur, I was lucky enough that when I gave the UPSC exam, my first preference was Manipur. And I was so lucky because very few people get the home carders. And I got Manipur, and I have been lucky to be serving here for almost 4 years now. And I've had many challenges. I've met wonderful people. But I think so far it's been good, and I've learned so much along the way. I think the real test is actually after passing the exam. I think passing the exam is just a very small component of it, and what you do with it after that is the real challenge.
Some people spend, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, attempting. How many times you're allowed to try?
I think 6 times.
Okay, so keep trying, guys. Anybody trying, 6 times. जेरेमी, आपको कितने बार ट्राई करना पड़ा? इनको तो IAS एक ही बार में हो गया. आपका इंडियन टीम में कितने बार ट्राई करना पड़ा और कितना मुश्किल हुआ वो जो जर्नी? और जब आपको कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स में जब आ रहे थे तो जो एक्सपर्ट कमेंटेटर थे वो लोग तो आपको डायरेक्टली ओलंपिक गोल्ड बोल रहे थे, तभी आप गिर गए. मुझे तो डर लग गया कि हमारा ओलंपिक गोल्ड कब होगा. तो आपका जर्नी कैसा रहा?
काफ़ी मज़ा आया. मैं 2012 में जब 11 साल था घर छोड़ के चला गया था पुणे. तो वहाँ आर्मी स्पोर्ट इंस्टीट्यूट में कोई मिज़ो भी नहीं था बात करने के लिए, और घर छोड़ना सबसे बड़ी बात है कि वो फेस करना. लेकिन वहाँ एक कोच था, मिज़ो कोच, उन्हें बहुत हेल्प किया था. जैसे हमने वैसे हम लोग जैसे ट्रेनिंग करते हैं तो 2012 से लेकर 2013 तक बेसिक ट्रेनिंग किया मैंने. कोई वेट नहीं उठाया. उसमें इक्विपमेंट भी ऐसे कुछ खास नहीं था. बम्बू और ये कनेक्शन पाइप के साथ हमने ट्रेनिंग किया था. और जैसे 2014 से 15 वेट टच करने स्टार्ट किया हमने. और 2016 मेरा पहला कंपटीशन था यूटेन जूनियर नेशनल चैम्पियनशिप. उसमें मेरा पहला नेशनल में मैंने 3 रिकॉर्ड तोड़ा और उसके बाद गोल्ड मेडल जीत के. और 2016 में ही मुझे इंडिया कैंप बुलाया गया है. और 2016 से मैं पटियाला NIS पटियाला से ट्रेनिंग किया हुआ इंडिया कैंप पे. और 2016 में ही मैंने यूथ वर्ल्ड चैम्पियनशिप में सिल्वर मेडल जीता। और वैसे खेलते खेलते मैंने काफ़ी इंटरनेशनल काफ़ी जीता। मैंने 2 बार यूथ वर्ल्ड में भी 2 बार मेडल जीता, और यूथ एशिया में और यूथ जूनियर में भी, और कॉमनवेल्थ सीनियर यूथ जूनियर सीनियर में पूरा गोल्ड मेडल है मेरा। और अभी यूथ वर्ल्ड में मेरा वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड है, और यूथ कॉमनवेल्थ और जूनियर में भी मेरा रिकॉर्ड ही है। और अभी 2018 में हम यूथ ओलंपिक खेलने गया था, तो उस टाइम पे भी काफ़ी अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस रहा, क्योंकि मैं 56 में खेलते हुए आया था। तो उस टाइम पे मेरा हाइट भी ग्रोथ हो रहा था और बॉडी वेट भी रुक नहीं रहा था, इसलिए मैंने 62 में चेंज किया था। मैंने 62 में चेंज करके 3 मंथ अच्छा से ट्रेनिंग किया होगा यूथ ओलंपिक्स के लिए। फिर भी हमने हार नहीं माना, और कोच ने इतना सपोर्ट किया, हमारा चीफ कोच साहब विजय शर्मा, और उन्हें ही मुझे लेके गया था कि बाकी लोग भी कर सकते तो हम भी कर सकते हैं। तो हम यूथ ओलंपिक भी गया था। यूथ ओलंपिक में भी गोल्ड मेडल आया, तो मुझे पता नहीं था गोल्ड आया बोल के उस टाइम पे भी। काफ़ी अच्छा रहा। और यूथ ओलंपिक के बाद 2019-20 तो कोविड था, सबको प्रॉब्लम था, और 2019 से मेरा नी इंजरी हुआ था, और मेरा बैक भी काफ़ी टाइम अभी फ़िलहाल भी मेरा एल्बो अभी जस्ट PRP इंजेक्शन किया हमने इंजरी की वजह से। काफ़ी इंजरीज फेस करना पड़ा उसी टाइम पे, काफ़ी डाउन भी होता है, और अकेला, वैसे मैं अकेला ही रहता हूँ, तो काफ़ी
गर्लफ्रेंड नहीं है?
मेंटल हेल्थ में काफ़ी इफेक्ट होता है। जी
गर्लफ्रेंड नहीं है?
नहीं है।
तो इधर ढूंढना पड़ेगा इम्फाल में। हाँ,
अभी सीनियर ओलंपिक मेडल जीतने के बाद देखेंगे।
गर्लफ्रेंड, ठीक है। तो आप एक बार में एक रिकॉर्ड तोड़ो ना, ये 3 रिकॉर्ड तोड़ने से ना आपका इंजरी हो रहा है। एक बार में एक ही रिकॉर्ड तोड़ के रखो, ज्यादा लोगों को भी थोड़ा 1-2 लोगों को और तोड़ने दो ना। आपको थोड़ा अपने आप को प्रिजर्व करना पड़ेगा।
कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स में वही हुआ था, मैंने स्नेच में रिकॉर्ड तोड़ा था कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स का। तो मैंने क्लीन एंड जर्क 160 था, और मैंने वो तो अटेम्प्ट पास कर लिया, लेकिन मेरे पीछे में वो जो समोआ का एथलीट था, तो उसने 163 उठाए, उसने कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स रिकॉर्ड तोड़ा था। तो मैंने अपना गोल्ड कंफर्म करने के लिए और रिकॉर्ड तोड़ने के लिए मैंने 65 लिया था, लेकिन रिकॉर्ड तोड़ नहीं पाया। लेकिन टोटल में जो हमें मेडल मिलता है स्नेच एंड क्लीन एंड जर्क को कंबाइन करके हमें मेडल मिलता है, तो वो 300 kg है, वो भी कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स रिकॉर्ड ही है।
ये हमारा नोवा को भी बहुत मेडल मिलता, अगर हॉस्पिटैलिटी इंडस्ट्री में भी गोल्ड मेडल सिल्वर मेडल होता। तो ये जो नोवा का गेम है, इनका जो गेम है, ये भी डेंजर गेम खेला है इन लोगों ने। So Nova comes from a family, I guess most of you know, that completely medical family, doctors, labs and all. Suddenly this guy decides that I want to go to St. Paul's in Darjeeling to study. After that had to have nothing to do with medicine. So the parents must have been really disappointed at that point, yeah. So he goes to Calcutta, did not find any other hotel management institute. Calcutta, he's studying hotel management institute. From that journey to what he has built here, with classic, grande, and the changes he's brought is phenomenal, yeah? What are the challenges that you faced in your game, and how did you overcome it? Were there any injuries that you faced?
Yeah, I'd like to first start with how I entered into hotel industry and why I picked hospitality industry. Is my whole family's background is doctors. I'm surrounded with doctors. Mom is a doctor, dad is a doctor, brother is a doctor, sister is also a doctor. So I'm left with no option, and so when I was a child, and everyone is studying. When you are in a medical family, it's all about books. They are always in front of the books, and I'm the one person who is going into the kitchen to help my mom so that I don't study. Okay, so that's when my craziness about cooking started. I loved cooking in some way or the other. I used to wash utensils at home just to avoid studying. Okay, because I just didn't want to study at all. So that way, and then I had this hobby of cooking. I started doing some, trials at home. Whether it was cooked or uncooked, I made sure that my family's tried. And once I made a pizza, and I was just class 6 at that time. I made a pizza, and the pizza was uncooked, and my brother and myself actually had diarrhea after that. So that is first lesson that any white flour needs to be cooked properly before you eat. That's the first learning lesson I started for my hospitality background. So when I came to the 11th standard, that's when I decided, my dad, I want to join hotel management because, my dream and my passion is cooking, and I want to join culinary course. So that's exactly when we clicked, when we looked into the hospitality sector in Manipur. There were not much of what we call a decent hotel at that time.
Was your dad disappointed?
I am not sure about that. I need to ask him. I think he must be really proud by now. Well, maybe at that time, maybe I didn't join their club of medicals. But then I think I chose the right path because I followed my passion. I joined culinary course. I did my hotel management. And while doing my hotel management, that's when we clicked, we should invest on hotel and we should invest in hospitality sector in Manipur because we need one very badly. That's the dream when we started with the construction of the first ever 3-star hotel in Manipur. In 2009, it was inaugurated. In 2009, November. Just before the recruitment, I had done my hotel management. I worked for a few months in Park Hyatt Goa Resort and Spa in one of the kitchen. It was called Masala Kitchen. It's basically an Indian kitchen. So when I came back from there, we set it up, and I, along with myself, my general manager, who is also a hotel management background, we hired the first ever employee of our Classic, who is the HR assistant. He's still with us right now. And 3 of us, we started the recruitment process. So what challenges we faced during the first initial recruitment was we lacked the whole concept of hospitality in our state. And getting in a skilled person, for example, when we say housekeeping attendant, when we look at housekeeping, people think, okay, it's just about cleaning rooms, but it's so much more than that. We have so many technicalities we need to learn in terms of housekeeping, in terms of food and beverage. So it was difficult for us getting skilled, employees. But luckily, we hired the first round of recruitment was for the departmental heads, the HODs, we call them. So they were all traveling from outside. So we had multiple Manipuri, hoteliers, hotel staffs, or who are doing F&B managers. At that current time, they were working all outside Imphal. So when this opportunity for them came to actually come back home, settle down at home, and start working at home, they were also very happy. And that's when, my manager here, Basu, is here with me. He started with me. He is the F&B manager. He used to work for ITC Oberoi. So he was also one of our first managers who we recruited, and he's still with us. So like that, we had all our Manipuri, youths coming together. And I'm so proud to say that, Classic Group is actually run by totally youths. Our average working age will be, 30 years as of now. And it's fun, when we have so many like-minded people together working for the same purpose, trying to serve and make the hospitality background of Manipur even better than what it is today. So
I had broken your story down into next 2 questions, so I'm run out of questions now, because since you have told your entire story. तो जेरेमी आज रात को ये कुछ बनाएंगे हमारे लिए, हमको टेस्ट करना होगा, डायरिया होगा कि नहीं उसका गारंटी नहीं है.
I'm sure it'll be totally
you
perfectly cooked now.
Please cook something for us.
Sure.
Coming to you, Andrea, now. You have, what, 1,17,000 followers on Instagram, right? No, correct?
I
or
think
more?
so. I don't know.
More than that?
Probably. I don't
Okay, so if you have not liked, subscribed, or done whatever, so please, yeah? I don't know Instagram much. Did I say something wrong? So, 16 years is a very young age to venture out of home and to go into the modeling world, which is a cutthroat kind of, if I'm, use a gentler word, area. How did you manage? How did you survive? What guided you in this?
I think a lot goes into where I come from also. Like, I have 4 older sisters, so I kind of knew, about a few magazines here and there, and, I knew what kind of picture looked good and what looked bad. But for the most part, I really, for 95% of the time, I felt like a deer in headlights, because I just moved out of Kohima and I'm in front of the camera all the time. There are 5 people pulling your hair, there are 10 people touching your face. It was quite a drastic change to what I was used to. But I was fortunate enough to have signed with an extremely professional agency. So they would take care of all their models, and when you're under 18, they would allow guardians to travel with you when you had shoots. Of course, my parents never had time, but basically that's how it goes. And I had agents to kind of help me around to kind of find my way around the city. So in that way, in the professional sense, I had a lot of help. And I know that there are a lot of misconceptions. I don't know if I would call them misconceptions, because I know a lot of people also experience them, but there are ideas about the industry that it's not safe for underage, especially for girls. There are a lot of female models as compared to male. So I never got to experience any of that. And even when it comes to northeastern models or artists moving to the mainland, there's a lot of discrimination that they face and all of those things. But because I had the safety net and the support that I did when I signed on, I didn't really have to face all that. So I was in good hands, basically.
और आपका हिंदी improve हुआ कि नहीं?
अभी तक थोड़ा हुआ, लेकिन I have a long way to go. It's still very below par, but I'm getting there.
जेरेमी, सिखाना पड़ेगा थोड़ा हिंदी, हाँ? आपका कैंप में बुलाइए इनको भी. आप एक्सरसाइज वो करते हैं ट्रेनिंग में, और इनको थोड़ा हिंदी सिखाना पड़ेगा अगली बार से. Pooja, that conversation that we had about taking life challenges at a very young age, and convincing people around you, like Andrea did her parents, I want to go out, I want to do something. In your life, I think one of the challenges that came to you was during elections, how you led a team of all women officials, in fact, in 2 constituencies. If you could share that story of how you did that.
Thanks, Karma. So Manipur, we had the legislative elections earlier this year in March. And for that, I was the returning officer of 2 constituencies. And it was a long preparation. We started preparing almost a year back. But at the same time, I knew it's an enormous challenge and it requires, a very good team. So I was lucky to have the support of my DC as well as my election staff. So they were really good. But at the same time, we had to take a lot of, people from different departments, because election is a massive exercise, and we require people from, teachers to people from, who are the scientists. So many departments were involved, and a lot of them had to be polling officers. So usually we tend to take men polling officers, but in our district there was a shortage of men staff, because there's a large proportion of women in the education department. So we decided to leverage that. And so for 2 of my constituencies, I volunteered and I said that I will train, full women polling stations for both my constituencies, and we had 88 polling stations. So we decided to go ahead with that. We talked to the CEO of Manipur and my DC, and they all agreed, and they gave me the go-ahead and said, you go ahead and you train them and you work with them. Initially, when we announced, that these women have to come and report for training on this day, so many of them came up, and they were hesitant. A lot of them came with excuses that they have children, they cannot stay away from home at night, a lot of them. And some of them were genuine, some of them had medical reasons, so we excused those. We had a medical panel and everything to make sure that it was done rigorously. But at the same time, I tried my best to convince them. I said, I'm also a woman, But I stay awake, I have to stay. In fact, sometimes I don't go back home also. I have to stay in office. Even my parents and my husband, they're worried, but they understand that this is my job and I have to do it. So I think it helped that I, myself being a woman, my DC is a woman. So we convinced them and we made sure that we are there with you throughout the way, and we'll make sure that you are safe. Because anything happens, and we'll ensure that you're well protected, you are safe. We assured them that. So many of them, by the end, we trained them rigorously. Some of them were not, very comfortable with the technical part of it. So we trained them again and again. We spent a lot of time with them. And the best part was at the end when they came back after the day of polling. So many of them were so, happy and they were very exhausted. Definitely, they were very tired. And some of them had to face difficult situations where there were long lines and, some people got slightly rude. But I told them that, this is how we have to handle them. We are all public officials. And as government officials, election is something we have to face, almost every 5 years and sometimes almost every 2-3 years. So this is something we have to get used to, and the fact that they are working, should not, just the fact that they are married or they have children should not deter them from doing their duty, which happens once in 2 years or once in 3 years. So they should not worry about that. So when they came back from the day of poll, and we received them, and so many of them were so happy. They thanked us, and they said they want to do this again because they felt so confident doing this and handling large numbers of people, handling large numbers of voters, negotiating with them. So they really, found that it boosted their self-confidence. So they said they want to do this again next time as well. So I'm very happy that we could pull it off, and we could pull it off together. And I'm so thankful that there's so many, women out there working now. They're going out of their houses and they're taking up leadership positions in different walks of life, So that was really heartening for me, and it was a really good learning experience for me as well.
Yeah, and there's an incredible story about her, how there was vaccine hesitancy because people did not want to take vaccines, and how she went around working with local leaders, community leaders, MLAs, and getting vaccine coverage as much as possible. And she's a young IS officer who's just coming in and hit with the COVID wave at that time. So thank you for your service. Andrea, one question I think everybody wants to know, and I have to ask it. The floor is open for questions. Just interrupt me rudely, and just, if you don't want to introduce yourself, introduce yourself. If you want to remain anonymous, but ask your question, yeah? Andrea, how was your experience working on your movie, and how was the transition from modeling to an actor?
The way I got casted for that film was completely out of the blue. I actually did not audition, and the director, he casted me, like he saw a picture of mine and he thought my look would basically be perfect for the role he had written. So I will admit now that Bollywood is something that I am not too familiar with. I grew up watching a few here and there, and of course I know the greats like Shah Rukh Khan.
Which movie you watched?
Kal Ho Na Ho. Anyway, but yeah, I watched a few growing up, but besides that, obviously I wouldn't keep up with what the biggest hit of which year was or anything like that. So it was completely off left field, and when it did happen, I was hesitant because Hindi was a huge barrier for me. I had never acted before, and they told me that I had to play a boxer, and I can't even run for like 500 meters.
You look like a boxer.
I don't. So it was a very difficult, basically, idea to grasp. But my family encouraged me towards it. They said, this is a huge opportunity, and you're 18 years old. I was 18 when I got offered the role, and you're gonna learn so many life skills. Boxing is something that I never want to let go now.
Oh, you box now?
Yes, I box.
Scary.
So yeah, and I also learned how to ride a bike. Like all these small things, and like now I have like acting up my sleeve, I guess. But that's why I kind of looked at it like in retrospect, and I thought it would be like a good idea, and so I decided to do it, and it was an amazing experience. Like I got to meet so many wonderful people, and I would say, a little familiar working in front of a camera as a model, so it wasn't too hard. But yeah, I mean, and also the after effects of what happened after the film released. You know, like I got so much love and so much support. So I think nothing can take that away from me now. So I'm
Yeah, you
very
look
grateful.
quite angry throughout the movie, you know.
I was.
Saw the movie and you were looking
I was
angry.
discriminated, so I was angry in the film. But like as soon as the cameras turn off, I'm a very happy person.
Can we hear one dialogue from the movie? Yes or no?
Oh, God.
Yes or no? Yes, करने से तो नहीं होगा हाँ. I like that, Kari. That's nice.
I don't, I don't remember most of my lines, but I know there was one scene where I had the mouth guard in my mouth, and they gave me the script on the spot, and they said you have to say these lines as you box. So I was like, oh my God, this is not going to happen. I practiced with a pencil in my mouth, all those things like 5 minutes before the camera started rolling, and it's something like India mera baap ka raj. इंडिया तेरा बाप का राज नहीं है, मेरा बाप का राज नहीं है, मेरा सब हम सब का है. I mean, yeah, something like that. Sorry, I'm so sorry, I forgot my lines.
देखा जेरेमी कितना अच्छा डायलॉग है ना. आपको अच्छा लगा डायलॉग? हाँ, जेरेमी को भी अच्छा लगा है. Where? Oh, Kari, okay, go.
मेरा क्वेश्चन जेरेमी सर के लिए है.
मुझे पता था आप जेरेमी को ही सवाल पूछोगे.
Because I think he comes from a very, non-backing thing. I think this.
No justification needed, just ask your question.
मेरा क्वेश्चन आपके लिए ये है कि आपको क्या लगता है, except for all जितना यहाँ आज discussion हुआ है, tourism and other potentials, but आपको क्या लगता है कि North East में sports का क्या potential है, sports persons का क्या potential है, और as a sports person आपको यहाँ क्या प्रॉब्लम फेस करना, और आपका ही नहीं दूसरे नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न जितने आप स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन को जानते हो उनके पास उनको कौन सा तकलीफ होता है, जैसे कि न्यूट्रिशन, आपका इक्विपमेंट्स का, सो इवन फंडिंग्स का, सो दोस काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स कैन यू एलाबोरेट?
नोटिस काफ़ी स्पोर्ट्स में अच्छा है, और अभी देखी जाएंगे नेशनल गेम्स में भी अभी जो फ़िलहाल हुआ है, तो नोटिस से काफ़ी गोल्ड मेडल और काफ़ी मेडल्स भी आया है, और इंटरनेशनल भी बहुत अच्छा इतना मतलब 7 सीटर्स के अंदर में 2 मेडल्स ओलंपिक्स में दिलवाना बहुत बड़ी बात होता है, और भी आगे हम मेडल देंगे, मैं खुद भी दूंगा, और और स्पोर्ट्स स्टार्ट करने के लिए मतलब परफेक्ट इक्विपमेंट ज़रूरत नहीं है, और लेकिन अगर हमारे पास अच्छा स्टेडियम होगा, प्लेयर नहीं होगा तो फ़ायदा नहीं स्टेडियम का. ऐसे ही काफ़ी एथलीट्स है और स्पोर्ट्स करना चाहता है और उनको पता नहीं होता है कैसे स्टार्ट करना है. और मैं भी जब गेम खेलता था, मैं बॉक्सर हूँ, पापा नेशनल मेडलिस्ट है, तो मैं बॉक्सिंग खेलता था, तो मैं भी सोचा था मैं बॉक्सर ही बनूंगा, लेकिन जैसे मेरा दोस्त लोग को देख के जोश आके मैंने ऐसे ही मजाक में स्टार्ट किया वो लिफ्टिंग, मतलब सीरियस हो गए कंटिन्यू. उसी टाइम पे भी जैसे बताया था कि कोई इक्विपमेंट नहीं था, बस हम खुद अपना बेम्बू लेके आता था, या और उधर से जहाँ ट्रेनिंग हॉल होता है वहाँ कनेक्शन पाइप दिया जाता है वहाँ ट्रेनिंग के लिए. तो वैसे ही हमारा एथलीट्स जो है अभी जैसे हमारा सरकार और जो भी जैसे सपोर्ट करते आया है, वैसे हमें और भी सपोर्ट देना चाहिए, क्योंकि हम जैसे वो लिफ्टिंग में तो डाइट के बहुत ज़रूरत होता है और खुद खर्चा होने के लिए तो बहुत मुश्किल है. तो जैसे मैं यूथ ओलंपिक जीतने के बाद ही काफ़ी स्पॉन्सरशिप्स आया और काफ़ी टॉप स्कीम में मेरा नाम है, काफ़ी अलग अलग तरफ से सपोर्ट मिला है, लेकिन पहले तो नहीं मिलता था. खाना मतलब कुछ सप्लीमेंट लेना हो और कुछ खाने के लिए चाहिए होगा और इक्विपमेंट कपड़ा वगैरह लेने के लिए चाहिए होगा, तो उसमें कोई पैसा नहीं होता था. लेकिन मैं मतलब जब पुणे में जब था मैं मुझे पता नहीं होता था घर में कितना प्रॉब्लम है, क्योंकि मैं काफ़ी छोटा था और मम्मी पापा उधार मांग के मुझे भेजता था 2-3 हज़ार। अभी मुझे समझने लग गया कि मतलब मैं ये खुश हूँ कि अभी मैं मम्मी पापा को रेस देके मैं देने शुरू किया है अभी, तो ये बहुत बड़ी बात है। और जैसे हम लोग को सपोर्ट मिलते रहेंगे तो यहाँ नॉर्थ ईस्ट का अंदर से ही बहुत ओलंपिक्स मेडल आ सकता है। Thank you.
और अभी एक गोल्ड मेडल मिलने के बाद सब आपके पीछे दौड़ रहा है ना, कहाँ कहाँ बुला रहा है, तो आपको बोलना चाहिए कि पहले तो आप लोग नहीं आए थे, कहाँ था। हमको भी आपको ऐसे बोलना चाहिए ना। यस, एनोनिमस क्वेश्चन। ओके,
If I do not?
If you cannot pass the exam,
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think UPSC is a very unpredictable exam, and I have said so many times that, you know, to aspirants also, that you need to have the right motivation, because, you know, you need to know why you want to get into this, because it looks, I mean, of course, people say it's prestigious and it's good, but at the same time, you need to have, you need to know why you're getting into this. So the why is very important. So you need to be very self-motivated. If you are doing it only because your parents are telling you or because society says it's a good job, then I don't think it's enough. So I think the why do you want to get into it is very important. Secondly, I think it's a very unpredictable exam. So even when I started studying for it, I said, okay, I'll do some, I mean, I'll have a backup plan, you know. So I think you need a backup plan, because very few people of the, who give the exam actually get through. So it's an unpredictable exam, and many brilliant people also don't get through. And sometimes very mediocre people also get through. So it's a very unpredictable exam. You have to work hard, you have to put a lot of effort, but there's also some element of luck, element of chance. So that is there. So that's why I want to tell people, to the aspirants, that those who are trying for it, you should have a very good reason to stay motivated, and give it your best. You have to work hard, you have to work smartly, and it's not a very difficult exam also. It's just unpredictable, and you have to, keep updating yourself, because I know many people who give the exam and get, say, IPS, and they give it again thinking because they want to get IAS rank, but next year they don't even pass through prelims. So it's very unpredictable, and that's why we should always have a backup plan if you're giving this exam. And I think the process of learning for this exam is also very helpful. You can give so many other similar exams related to it, or you can do something with academics, journalism. There's so many things you learn in the process of it. So I don't think it's ever wasted, and I think you have to keep believing in yourself. I think you can give it, 3-4 times if you really believe in yourself. But if you don't also, it's all right. You have to pick yourself up and find something else to do. And I think that's what you need.
so there is no secret ingredient. The secret ingredient is you. Any? Where? Where? Okay. My eyes are so bad, yeah. Tell us. Anonymous question? Okay.
Yeah, thank you. So my view on the career in civil services is that it's a career, it's a long-term career because, I joined when I was 24 years old, so I'll have a service of, more than 35 years. So it's a long-term game, there are many ideas I have. Sometimes I need to refine them, sometimes it's not possible to implement it right now. But I always feel that at some point in time, with more knowledge, with more experience, with more support from people, at some point, I think that those ideas will come to fruition. So I always try to think that, some things might not work out now. We will face challenges in any job, whether it's in administration or weightlifting or acting. I think we'll face challenges in whatever. Yes, of course, and journalism as well, So you'll face challenges in every point in your life, and I'm just starting out. So of course I have a lot of ideas, but I've also found that sometimes it's not possible, for it to be implemented immediately. Sometimes the public is not ready, sometimes the administration is not ready, and it takes time. Incremental changes do come about, and I think you have to keep working at it. And I also know that I also need to keep learning. Sometimes we forget that once we get into a job, we forget to learn. We forget to learn from different people. We forget to stop. We forget to read. We forget to study. So I think I have to keep learning myself. And I think at some point we'll get to do a lot more than what I even imagine now. So I think that applies to all of us in every sphere.
Where? You have broken the rules of engagement. Yeah, there is only one question. Second question when we finish this panel. Last question now. Anybody wants to ask? Where? Okay.
Madam, you are my big inspiration. First of all, I really love you so much. Even though you are on the same stage,
Is it a proposal or what? What is wrong with you?
not because of that, but she's my big inspiration. This question has been in my mind since 2-3 years back when you prep GS exam. Education is a basic human right, but because of financial problems, there are so many students who didn't get education, even if they want to pursue. So how would you define education for them?
Yeah, thank you so much, for your love and support. I think definitely, like you said, education is, it's a right for everyone, and I think it's enshrined in our laws. The Right to Education Act says that every person is entitled to education. So I think, we have a lot of government schools, but apart from government schools, even private schools, 25% of them, they are supposed to take in underprivileged children. So I think it's also about how, the public, the government, how all of us actually make sure that it actually happens on the ground. So I think, financial lack of finances, I think that's, a lot of people face in Manipur with regard. But I think there are a lot of affordable, apart from government schools also, there are a lot of affordable private schools coming up as well. And I think they can actually provide a pretty decent education to children. And apart from just, I think, our parents, I think the parents are also, I think, very important in terms of a child's education. It's not just in schools, but it's actually what they're taught in the homes also, how they're encouraged to study. And, I think education is not just about actually passing and, giving exams and scoring really high percentage. I know in India, and not just in India, but probably all parts of the world, there's a very big emphasis that on, scoring very high marks, and a lot of board exam marks are inflated. Everyone's getting 95%, 98%. So, it's very difficult. But I feel that apart from just, of course it's supposed to help you, you be skilled enough to get a job, but I think it's also supposed to help you reflect on your environment, to help you reflect on your society and your culture. So I think Education is supposed to empower us to have a voice, empower us to speak out, and empower us to pursue our dreams. I know it's not, not everyone gets to pursue their dreams. I understand that, but I think education will empower in some way or the other to contribute to our society, and I think all of us here, we will work in some capacity or the other, maybe as inspiration, maybe not directly in education, but as parents, as friends, as uncles and aunts. I think we have to, help make sure that education is inclusive and it actually helps develop a person into a, better person as well.
So with that, we come to the end of this panel discussion. Yeah? 1 minute, I'm just being bullied by somebody who wants to ask a question. I'm just, as a moderator, I'm saying maybe. Okay. The last question has come from where you come down with, you come down after this and you can ask the question face to face. Just sit here. I'll, come. No, first is here. Yeah.
This question is for Andrea and Nova because
Choose one. No? Okay.
yeah, because Jeremy knows he's doing what he's doing because he needs to get a puja sorted out. You're into the service. What keeps you going, Andrea and Nova? Why do you do what you do? So you go with the idea.
I think for me, my career has not just been like something separate from my life. It has been a very personal journey because I started when I was so young. But in terms of modeling, I think there's always something greater to be achieved. And while that could seem very facile also, I think there's a lot of beauty in it. The first time you book a campaign, and then the first time you see yourself at the mall, the first time you see a hoarding when you cross the road, and the first time you're on a magazine cover. I mean, these are all small victories. And then, of course, the next step is going abroad, which is hopefully in my cards now. But that's why I work, because I think, I mean, these are, I like to describe myself as a generally happy person inside. So I don't have any kind of big aspirations that I really want to achieve, and I'm set out to do these things. But I take every day as it comes, and the opportunities that have come to me, I have been very what's the word? I've been very, I would say, lucky. Yeah, I've been very lucky with all the things that have come my way. But, I think for me, I'm a very easygoing person, so I like to take everything one day at a time, and basically that's just how the career worked out for me. So yeah, I mean, that's basically what motivates me.
As I've mentioned, why I've joined the hospitality industry, that I've already explained. Now we have got a classic group started in the year 2009. It's been 13 years, and we just recently celebrated during the COVID. We celebrated our 10 years of experience and excellence, and we have congratulated all those staffs who have been with us for the last many years. So what keeps me going now is the family. The classic family that I have in tech is, we have approximately around 300 employees with me. They keep me motivated every day and now and then. And every day, every year, we get new faces joining us and our company expanding. And the impact that our group and our company has been having with our staff as well as their family, we made a short video in the 10 years of the Excellence Awards. And I got to know that, we are not just impacting the employees, but as well as their families, So that, when I look back and, okay, we did a great job, we were able to bring back all our youths back home and reunite them with their families. And, that achievement, I would say, that's the best motivating factor for me. Yeah.
Can I just add something?
How much you have spoken? Speak more. Okay.
Yeah, when Andrea was just talking about what motivated her, reminded of how, as a person from the Northeast growing up, we never saw someone who looked like us in the mainstream, So beauty standards have always been, the typical mainland look. So I think it's so heartening for me to see people who look like us, like Andrea, like Lil Laishram, like people, who look like us in the mainstream and make us feel that we are also beautiful and we also have, we should be proud of ourselves. So I just want to say that you're also an inspiration to so many of us to accept ourselves the way we are.
On that wonderful note, I'd like to close this panel. I'd like to thank Jeremy, Noba, Pooja, and Andrea. Thank you so much for sharing gems from your life. I think this conversation can go on and on. Now, I'm saying bye because we have the award ceremony for all the young achievers. Now, all our young achievers, I actually have a young panel, so I'm so proud of it. The awards will be given soon. I'd like to thank each and every one of you who stayed back to listen to us, deep sense of gratitude I have. And we are all available for you, and I speak for all the members and the associate members of NELC. We are all there for you. We are a phone call away. We are an email away. So we are all open. You can reach us. So thank you so much for being with us.